Amaya Tatiana Akins. Amaya is a member of the Beta Club and she plans to attend Southern University after graduation and pursue a degree in business, then attend Aveda for cosmetology. Amaya, if your life was a movie, what would be the title? What movie describes your life?
If my life were a movie, the title would be The Journey. And a movie that describes my life is Thelma and Louise.
Okay. What is your best memory of Livonia High School?
My best memory of Livonia High School is probably just being around my friends and the experience.
What is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is, "I love the woman that I am because I fought to become her." That's my favorite quote because I feel as though it relates to myself.
Nice. If you could go back to ninth grade, what would you do differently?
If I could go back to ninth grade, I would tell myself that my little problems or issues don't matter at all in the long run, and I'd study a lot more.
Agreed. What are the hardest things facing young people today?
The hardest thing facing young people today is
Elena Jade Basil. Elena has been a cheerleader since 7th grade and has been on the Lady Wildcat softball team since 7th grade. She is in FCA and is an M&M. Elena plans to attain a general studies degree at LSU, then transfer to the Lake for nursing. So, Miss Elena, what is something unique about yourself that no one else knows?
Something unique about myself is I was adopted from Maryland when I was 8 weeks old, and me and my adopted mom look just alike.
Okay. So, what is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is, "Don't judge a book by its cover because you never know what's on the inside." Just like, don't look at a person and just say, "Oh, she's this, she's that," or "he's this, he's that," because you don't know really what's going on.
Nice. If your life was a movie, what would the title be? And what describes your life?
If my life was a movie, the title would be Elena's Journey. And a movie that describes my life is Switched at Birth.
If you could go back to ninth grade, what would you do differently?
If I could go back to ninth grade, I would definitely focus more and study more, because I let the little things distract me.
What is something deeper about yourself that isn't known on the surface?
Something deeper about myself is I always put myself last. I always look at others first and wish the best for everyone else before myself.
Megan is a cheerleader. She plans to attend the University of Lafayette and study pre-law, then attend law school at LSU. So Megan, what is something deeper about yourself that isn't known on the surface?
I don't like change, but when change comes, I do work hard to get through it.
If you could go back to ninth grade, what would you do differently?
If I could go back to ninth grade, I definitely would have tried out for cheer, and I would have done a lot more things that I didn't do.
What is something unique about yourself that no one else knows?
A lot of people don't know that I'm mixed, so I'm half Asian and I'm half white.
What are the hardest things facing young people today?
The hardest things facing young people today, in my opinion, is the cost of tuition to go to college. That's why a lot of people don't go.
If your life was a movie, what would the title be? What movie describes your life?
My movie would be probably really basic, Megan's Life. And the movie that describes my life is Legally Blonde, because a lot of people say that I am.
Morley has been a cheerleader since 7th grade and is this year's co-captain. She is in the Beta Club, FCA, and is an M&M. She attended the Europe trip with Mr. Como and the French class and participated in AHEC this summer at Point Capit General. After graduation, Morley plans to attend Southeastern University in Hammond and major in nursing. Morley, what is something unique about yourself that no one else knows?
Something unique about myself that no one else knows is that I was born very premature and my soft spot never closed up, so now I have a dent in my head.
Okay. If you could go back to ninth grade, what would you do differently?
If I could go back to ninth grade, I would probably do something memorable because my whole ninth grade year is a blur.
If your life was a movie, what would the title be? What movie describes your life?
If my life was a movie, it'd be titled Finding Morley, and a movie that describes my life is Nightmare on Elm Street.
What is something deeper about yourself that isn't known on the surface?
Something deeper about myself that no one knows is that I pretend that I don't care about anything, but in reality, I care about every little thing.
What is your best memory of Livonia High School?
My best memory of Livonia High School is going on the Europe trip with Mr. Como in the French class and spending all of New Year's Eve in the
Elena has been on the Lady Wildcat varsity team since 8th grade as a utility player. She is the spiker for the volleyball team and is an FCA. Elena plans to attend Southeastern University and major in nursing. Elena, what is something deeper about yourself that isn't known on the surface?
That my mom was a single mother raising 3 kids and she gave us everything we needed.
What are the hardest things facing young people today?
I think the hardest thing facing young people today are drugs and alcohol.
Okay. If you could go back to 9th grade, what would you do differently?
I would definitely try harder and study and know that it was more important than what I made it.
What is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, because I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Okay. If your life was a movie, what would the title be? What movie describes your life?
My title for my life would be Wild Elena, and a movie that explains my life is The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Mackenzie is a member of FCA and is an M&M. She plans to attend Southern University and major in pre-law. Mackenzie, what will you miss the most about LHS?
What I'll miss most about LHS is being at school events and seeing all my friends around.
If your life was a movie, what would be the title? What movie describes your life?
If my life was a movie, it would be called Ken's Chaos. And the movie that best describes my life is 13 Going on 30, because I always act like I'm grown.
What is something deeper about yourself that isn't known on the surface?
Something deeper about myself that isn't known on the surface is that I would do anything to make people smile, and I'm really great at giving advice.
What is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is, I will love myself despite the ease with which I lean towards the opposite, because it helped me in learning to love myself.
Okay. What is something unique about yourself that no one else knows?
Something unique about myself that no one else knows is that I used to live in Florida for like 3 years.
Chantel Leach. Lashara has been a cheerleader since 7th grade and is also an M&M. After high school, she plans to attend Southeastern University and major in nursing. Lashara, what will you miss the most about LHS?
I will definitely miss cheering every Friday night since the 7th grade.
What is your best memory of Livonia High School?
My best memory is getting to cheer in the Superdome twice and winning the state championship.
If your life was a movie, what would the title be? What movie describes your life?
If my life was a movie, it would be called Lashara's Wild Ride. And a movie that describes it would be White Chicks, because everybody thinks I act white.
What is something deeper about yourself that isn't known on the surface?
Something deep about myself is that I always put others first, no matter what the circumstance is.
What is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, because without God I can't.
Skylar was in the choir and is in student senate. In the fall, she plans to attend Southern University and major in business administration, and later go back for early child education. Skylar, what is your best memory of Livonia High School?
The best memory of Livonia High School would honestly be when like prom and homecoming stuff come around, because that's when everybody come together and it's like fun. Like you really want to go here and stuff like that.
What are the hardest things facing young people today?
The hardest things facing young people, to be honest, is like drugs and stuff like that, because children want to fit in because they see attention seeking to the other one, so they do things just to try to get cool points.
Okay. If you could go back to 9th grade, what would you do differently?
If I could go back to 9th grade, I would change the way I focused on school, because honestly, my mind was everywhere but on school, except when something fun went around. But I mean, I would love to change how I focus on my academics.
What is something deeper about yourself that isn't known on the surface?
Something deeper about myself is that I am very outgoing, but I mean, it just depends. I treat people how they treat me, honestly.
What is something unique about yourself that no one else knows?
Something unique about myself is that I've been dancing for about 15 years. Since I was like 2 or 3 years old.
Jalen has been a varsity cheerleader for 6 years and is this year's captain. She is in Beta and this year's treasurer. She is in FCA and an M&M. Jalen plans to attend LSU for general studies, then transfer to Our Lady of the Lake to pursue a career as an oncology nurse practitioner. Jalen, what is your best memory of Livonia High School?
My best memory of Livonia High School is last year at the 2017 graduation when I accepted the key for the class of 2018. This meant a lot to me because it meant that it was our time to be seniors.
What are the hardest things facing young people today?
I believe the hardest thing facing some people today is trying to fit in the crowd, and I believe no one else's opinion should matter but your own.
If you could go back to 9th grade, what would you do differently?
If I could go back to 9th grade, I would be more independent, and I would cherish every moment because you're only in 9th grade once.
What is something deeper about yourself that isn't known on the surface?
Something deeper about myself that isn't on the surface is that everyone thinks that everything comes easy for me, like my sports and my school grades, but truly I have to work hard every day to be the person that I am.
What is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is, "You never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory," and this is my favorite quote because I think you should cherish every moment in your life because you never know when it will be your last.
Kanisha has been a cheerleader, a prowler, and a member of the Color Guard. She is currently an M&M. Kanisha plans to go to college to become a pediatrician and help others in need. Kanisha, what is your best memory of Livonia High School?
My best memory of Livonia High School is joining all the clubs and making new friends.
What will you miss the most about LHS?
Dancing on the field, being in the courtyard, hanging with my friends.
If you could go back to 9th grade, what would you do differently?
I would study hard and just stay focused in school.
What is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is, there's not good in every day, but every moment in every day is good.
What is something unique about yourself that no one else knows?
Something unique about myself is that I'm very kind, I'm a good person at heart, and I love being around my friends.
Diamond is an M&M. She is currently indecisive about where she will attend college. However, she does plan to do something in the medical field. Diamond, what is your best memory of Livonia High School?
My best memory at Livonia High School would have to be seeing my brother graduate.
What are the hardest things facing young people today?
The hardest things facing you would have to be peer pressure and having to conform to society.
If you could go back to 9th grade, what would you do differently?
If I can go back to 9th grade, I would most definitely join the club or play a sport.
What will you miss the most about LHS?
The thing I would miss the most about Livonia is the students and the faculty.
If your life was a movie, what would the title be? What movie describes your life?
All about the because I'm in.
Sierra is an M&M and was a member of the Lady Wildcat softball team. After high school, she plans to attend Southeastern and major in biological science. Sierra, what is your best memory of Livonia High School?
My best memory at Livonia was prom 2017.
What are the hardest things facing young people today?
The hardest things facing young people today, I would say, is bullying.
If you could go back to 9th grade, what would you do differently?
I would join stuff like Beta and all that.
What is something deeper about yourself that isn't known on the surface?
I'm very kind-hearted.
What will you miss the most about LHS?
I will miss most about LHS is the sporting events, like the basketball.
Destiny has been a cheerleader for 5 years. She is in Beta, FCA, and is an M&M. She plans to attend the University of Louisiana at Lafayette and major in pre-dentistry, then attend the LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans to become an orthodontist. Destiny, what is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is, "Things can't always go your way, so pick which choice makes you the happiest, even though it might be risky, because it's better to be happier."
If you could go back to 9th grade, what would you do differently?
If I could go back to 9th grade, I would be more of a leader than I would be a follower.
If your life was a movie, what would be the title? What movie describes your life?
If my life was a movie, the title would be The Destiny of Destiny, and a movie that describes my life would be Titanic, because even though you lose the person that you love the most, life still goes on.
What is something unique about yourself that no one else knows?
There's nothing really unique about myself that no one else knows because I'm an open book, and what you see is what you get.
What are the hardest things facing young people today?
The hardest things facing young people today would be peer pressure or bullying.
Hannah is a cheerleader and this year's lieutenant. She is in beta and is currently the vice president. She is also in 4-H, student council, FCA, and junior historians. She is in M&M and traveled to Europe with Mr. Como in the French class. Hannah is planning to attend ULM to major in biology and later become a dentist. Hannah, what are the hardest things facing young people today?
The hardest thing facing young people today is bullying because too many people would rather worry about others than worry about themselves.
What is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is, "Don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game, because if you always worry about defeat, you will never get success."
If you could go back to 9th grade, what would you do differently?
If I can go back to 9th grade, I would do nothing differently because what I've gone through has made me who I am today.
What is your best memory of Livonia High School?
My best memory of Livonia High School is cheering and dancing in the Superdome, not once, but twice.
What is something deeper about yourself that isn't known on the surface?
Something deep about myself that isn't known on the surface would have to be that I struggle with anxiety and depression. But I do it without being medicated because I stay positive and I look at my glasses half full instead of half empty.
Thank you, Hannah.